Hello and welcome to yet another Monday Minute. My name is Ken Freeman and here is what I have for you today. Ever so often I have the privilege of interviewing authors of books and workbooks that I believe you need to know about. And every sinner should hear about this book. If you haven't already purchased it and put it on your bookshelf, you need to listen to today's interview with Barbara Horick, who has written the book Real Abortion Stories, The Pain and the Healing. So let's join the Monday Minute microphone live with Barbara Horick.
The Monday Minute microphone is Barbara Horick, the author of the Amazon bestseller called Real Abortion Stories, a compilation of several women's stories that share both the pain and the healing, the despair and the hope. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
Well, I can't wait to hear more about your book. When we talk about abortion, though, Barbara, even if Roe v. Wade was ever overturned, would that in and of itself really end abortion, make abortion illegal?
No, it would not. And to understand why that is, we have to look at what the Roe versus Wade decision says. What it says is that state laws cannot forbid or limit access to abortion. And so if we overturn Roe versus Wade, what will happen, it will not make abortion illegal. It will just kick the matter back to the states to decide. In other words, each state would have to decide for itself about abortion.
Correct. And then, of course, if you turn over Roe v. Wade, you have to turn over the other sister case to that, Doe v. Bolton.
That's right, Doe versus Bolton. That was decided on the same day as Roe versus Wade. And what Doe versus Bolton allows is abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. A lot of people are not aware of that it is legal through all 9 months of pregnancy.
Well, and most people don't know that both of those cases were fabricated cases and that both plaintiffs end up on our side.
True. And in fact, in the case of Roe, the whole case was a lie, where she said that she had been raped. And the attorney who carried that case forward actually knew that it was a lie. And so it goes all the way to the Supreme Court and through, and it was based on a lie.
Right. Barbara, what do you think it would really take to make abortion illegal, to change the hearts of people in this nation?
Well, I don't know about changing the hearts, but I do know to make the law make abortion illegal, I believe what it would take would be a constitutional amendment. And that would be a constitutional amendment that would literally say, unborn babies are persons. And what that would do, it would give children living inside the womb the same rights and protections as children living outside the womb. Because you see what happened in the Roe versus Wade decision, the Supreme Court said, and I'm going to quote from what it said, the unborn have never been recognized in the law as persons. So just a statement, a constitutional amendment saying unborn babies are persons would take care of that. And then they would have that same protection of right, the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that all of us recognize.
Absolutely. Barbara, let me ask you this. In writing your book, Real Abortion Stories, what would you like for people to know about abortion that they may not know at this time?
You know, I think there's one side of the abortion issue that we rarely hear about, and that is this, that many women have severe long-term emotional complications because of terminating a pregnancy. In fact, there was a major random study that was done, and it showed that 19% of post-abortive women who've had an abortion, suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. That means almost 1 in 5 have all these symptoms and have post-traumatic stress disorder. And then another 50% of those post-abortive women have many, not all of them, but many of the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder.
And, of course, the other side will bring out their studies to say, oh, no, the American Psychological Association says it doesn't have any effect. But you and I both know that if we would just listen to the actual men and women who have been a participant in abortion, that there is deep hurt, and that deep hurt comes out. And Just like I have had the privilege of working with over 30,000 at some point in our career, helping them overcome their hurts. And I can tell you, not one of them came to me free of these symptoms. They came with a long laundry list of symptoms.
All righty. I'm agreeing with you there.
That since we put up the after-abortion survey where we actually catalog these things, we've had nearly 3,000 take that survey, and you should read the symptoms they report. And that's just voluntarily reporting what they feel.
And, until I started working on this book, I really didn't realize the extent of the post-abortion complications until I started working with the women who had had abortion and who had agreed to tell their stories in the book that I was editing. And in that book, I have the stories of 14 women and 1 man. And these stories demonstrate that the complications can be serious and they can last a long time. Now, some of those complications, there can be nightmares, flashbacks of the abortion experience. Women experience regret and guilt and depression, alcohol and drug abuse, eating disorders, and even suicidal thoughts. But here's the good news about all of this. There is hope. There's hope for healing and peace. In fact, the title of the book that I worked on was Real Abortion Stories, The Hurting and the Healing. And so there is hope for those people who are experiencing these kinds of symptoms after an abortion.
What have you learned working and talking to these post-abortive women?
I think, first of all, I feel compassion for women who are experiencing difficulties, but who keep a secret because they're afraid of condemnation or judgment. One woman said, society says it's okay to have an abortion, but when they know I've had one, they think I'm terrible. So many women keep quiet about their problems, and so I feel a compassion for these women, but I also have a new understanding and a new appreciation of the desperate situations and pressures that influence a person to choose abortion. I don't believe anyone chooses abortion lightly.
No, I don't believe they do, and the horror stories they just abound of how I was coerced or how I was forced into this by my parents, my husband, my boyfriend. You know what I mean? That there are many, many reasons why people do. And I've always said that these complications then that occur, maybe they have denied it for a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 15.
Right.
But the day comes when Pandora's box opens, and the nature of post-traumatic stress is that it floods your emotions with the reliving of that experience, sometimes twice to 3 to 4 to 5 to 10 times greater than the actual experience.
And you're right about that.
Meaning that you have this nightmare inside of you that just causes you to implode. What can women who are going through these kinds of emotional hurts, what can they look for, especially as you get to the back of your book, what do you offer them that could offer them hope?
This is the best part of that whole book project is, as I learned from these women how to find peace and healing, I wanted to share that information. So I found all the programs that I could find that could help people in their healing. And I found that most of these programs are led by post-abortive women. And I list these in the appendix of the book. And many of these healing resources are free. But going back to Betty Jo, she suffered 21 years after her abortion before she found healing and peace. And like you said, some women start having these complications immediately, but they might not come until weeks or even years later. But they will come.
Absolutely. Well, Barbara, how can someone contact you? How can they get this book?
Well, the book sells for $7.95, and it can be ordered from Amazon.com, or a person can go to the website realabortionstories.com and order the book there. Either way. But I kept the price of the book low so people could afford it, and I would hope that anyone who buys this book will read it, but then pass it on to somebody else who needs it.
Well, thank you for listening to this interview. Barbara and I certainly want to thank you for being here to be part of Monday Minute. I hope that you have taken time to visit her website, and if you have read this book, I know I read it and it was very profound. It is helpful, and I think it's needed in every center. So here's what you do. Go to realabortionstories.com. You can order the book on Amazon. And until we meet again, this is your friend, your advocate, Ken Freeman, reminding you to keep up the good work you're doing. You are making a difference, and the other side just can't stand it. Thanks for listening.